very good afternoon and thank you very much for joining us on KTN News Desk on this 19th day of April 2016. My name is Akisa Wandera. Now, fresh from winning the main cup in Singapore, the Kenya Rugby Sevens national team is expected to make a heroic return this afternoon. The team will touch down this afternoon at 2:30 p.m. at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi. On location to receive the world conquerors will be a delegation of government dignitaries led by Kenya's Sports Cabinet Secretary Hassan Wario. Riding in a convoy of top-of-the-range motor vehicles, team's sponsors, the Kenya Airways, will host the boys to a luncheon at the Ole Sereni Hotel, and President Uhuru Kenyatta will not be at the team's arrival as he is held up at the cabinet retreat in Naivasha. Kenya won its first Seven Series final on Sunday, defeating champions Fiji 30-7. And come 2:30, we will be bringing you live pictures from there. Our reporters Moses Wahisi and Lynn Washira are at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport and will be joining us as we continue with this bulletin, just to give us updates on the preparations as we await our heroes, the Kenya Sevens national team. Away from the field, the cabinet retreat chaired by President Uhuru Kenyatta in Naivasha is expected to end today. President Kenyatta told his cabinet to ensure projects that the Jubilee coalition promised are delivered before next year's election. The head of state reportedly said time was running out and this year is critical to the re-election bid. At the heart of the meeting is the realignment of the 1.702 trillion shillings budget to ensure delivery of the Jubilee Manifesto's priorities for the 2016-2017 financial year and 284.7 billion shillings for the counties, which President Uhuru Kenyatta believes is properly utilized. If properly utilized, will give the government a good platform for re-election. For more on that, we are now joining our reporter Victor Ogale, who is also at Naivasha attending that particular or covering that particular conference. He's joining us via phone. Victor, thank you very much for joining us. This is the last day of the retreat. What do we expect?
Well, Akisa, we expect, we actually have been locked out once again, just like yesterday. But we expect us to be briefed a few minutes from now. And some of the things that are being discussed there are the budgetary allocations. I mean, President Uhuru Kenyatta is keen on saying that some of the promises that he made when he was coming into power, the Jubilee administration was coming into power, are fulfilled between now and when we are heading to the next general elections. One of the things that is also going to be discussed there, rather is being discussed, is the forthcoming visits of dignitaries, foreign dignitaries such as the British Prime Minister David Cameron, as well as the Tokyo International Conference that is going to be held here. Remember, this is a retreat that is coming 2 years after the one that had been held in 2014. And in 2014, some of the deliberations that were put forward was the government putting restrictions on foreign trips for government ministries and also other government officials, rather state officials. And indeed, it is believed that some of those officials did not take it well. And that is one thing that also they want to see if it can be mitigated, or rather they're given more in terms of their budgetary allocation.
All right, Victor, we are looking at about 15 months to the general elections in 2017. Is this particular retreat also looking at the roadmap towards 2017?
Yeah, true. It does. Looking at some of the things that, as I told you earlier, in terms of infrastructure, there are projects that the president has said that they had promised people that they are going to do, and he wants them launched by between now and the next 15 months when we are heading into the general elections. Also bearing in mind, as much as he is a president, also he also needs votes from the electorate, who are the Kenyans.
All right, thank you very much, Victor, for that report. Our reporter, Victor Ogale in Naivasha, where once again they have been locked out, but there's promise of a briefing on the particular retreat as curtains close on it today. Victor Ogale will be keeping us up to date with the same. But moving on, Kitui Senator David Musila has defended last week's State House visit by members of Parliament from Kitui County following claims that he visited or the visit was negotiated by negotiated a position for Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka in the Jubilee coalition. Speaking at Waita Market in Mwingi Central constituency, Kitui County, Musila said that they went to State House purely to discuss development projects which have stalled, including the long-awaited construction of Kitui-Kibwezi Road. The senator emphasized that they paid a courtesy call on President Uhuru Kenyatta as the man in charge of the national development projects in the country.
Mimi nauliza kitu moja. Kwa nini sisi jamii ya Wakamba tukienda kuona rais wetu ni lazima isemekane kwamba tumeenda kwa sababu ya siasa? Kama tungependa kuzungumza na rais mambo ya siasa ya Kalonzo au ya Musila au ya nani, hatutaenda kwa kamera, tutaenda vichorochoroni. Tunajua vile sisi hufanya maneno. Kwa hivyo tunaenda wazi kwa sababu tunazungumza mambo ya maendeleo. Kwa hivyo wale wana uchungu kwa sababu tuliona rais wa Kenya na ni rais wa Wakamba na ni rais wa Wakikuyu, ni rais wa Jaluo, ni rais wa kila mtu wa Kenya. Na tutaendelea kumuona kwa sababu yeye ndiye ana ile kikapu ya pesa ambayo inaweza kutoa maendeleo katika kaunti yetu.
Now, a maternity unit was officially opened in Garissa County by Area Governor Nadif Jama, who urged mothers in the county to deliver in healthcare facilities to reduce cases of child mortality. The unit was equipped by UNICEF that continues to support the country towards improvement of medical healthcare systems. Garissa County is placed among the 15 counties with the highest maternal mortality rates in the country, and the governor looks forward to equipping all the 16 healthcare facilities and 26 maternity wings using budgetary allocations that is continued to be received over time. The ultra-modern maternity wing has a 101 bed capacity. According to latest statistics, the number of women delivering in hospitals has increased from 48% in 2013 to 64% in 2015.
Today, UNICEF was here to give us 20 motorbikes for use by our community health workers. Also, with the support of UNICEF, we were able to launch or to inaugurate two very, very important maternity units in Garissa town, in Bula 15 and Bula Madina. These facilities were constructed, of course, with the funding from the county government.
We'd like to really congratulate the county, its people, on what you are doing. We are very impressed with the progress that has been made in healthcare services. You can see an expansion both at health facility level and at community level, and this is wonderful to see, and we are very, very pleased to, in a small way, be supporting you and identifying the best ways to provide support to the county systems so that it becomes sustainable into the long-term future for yourselves to be able to improve the safety of giving birth and having healthy newborns and children.
Now from Garissa, let's cross over to Kisumu, where embattled Kisumu City Manager Doris Ombara was today morning locked out of office as her lawyer threatened to file for court contempt against the county government. Lawyer Francis Olel, who accompanied Ombara to the office, was shocked to find the office door locked. Olel says the county governor Jack Ranguma and county secretary Humphrey Nakitare were adequately served by court orders reinstating Ombara until her case is heard and determined. Speaking at the City Hall after failing to get entry into her office, Ombara said she will pursue the matter in the corridors of justice to its logical conclusion. Yesterday, Ombara waited for the county secretary in his office for close to 8 hours without seeing him, following a directive that she reports to his office for further direction.
Really coincidental. The second Devolution conference, when we were here at Tomboy, you saw what happened with Madame Pamela Juice, with a big pair of scissors trying to break the door. Today is the first day of the Devolution conference in Meru. I am here with my door locked. Is this what the city or the county will be showing in terms of devolution? I mean, for us women, unfortunately, it seems most of the victims are women. So for me, I really did not want to engage in opinions and the like, but I stand out for other fellow employees, because I would not wish anybody, whether you're a sweeper or a watchman or a manager like myself, that you be treated, or a minister, that you be treated with this kind of treatment.
Indeed, that the county government was served with the orders. They were served with the orders around 8th of April this year, and seemingly there's no need, they do not want to comply. Our client has gone to the county secretary, who has done nothing about it, and we intend to take this to the next level. We will be filing contempt proceedings against the county government and the governor to ensure that court orders are complied with. Because we can't live in a society where there is chaos. There must be full compliance with the court order.
Now, at least 105 judges have been moved to new stations in new changes announced by Chief Justice Willy Mutunga. According to the Chief Justice, the changes take effect starting the 2nd of June this year. Among those affected include Lady Justice Mumbi Goge, who has been moved from Nairobi to Kerugoya County. Others are Justice Richard Mwongo, who now moves from Milimani Courts in Nairobi to Bomet County as the principal judge. Justice Weldon Korir moves from Nairobi to Eldoret as the presiding judge, while Justice Boaz Olao has been moved to Kiambu County. Also affected in the reshuffle is Justice Isaac Lenaola, who now moves to Civil Division at the Milimani Court. He has been replaced by Justice George Odunga. We now take a short break. Don't go too far. Coming up, Juba is jittery as they await the coming back or the return of Vice President Riek Machar. We have that and more lined up for you on the KTN News Desk. You're watching KTN News Desk. Let's now get into business. Britam Holdings has posted a 1.19 billion shillings loss in its 2015 results, down from a 3.21 billion shillings pre-tax profit the previous year. The loss is attributed to falling asset values due to a slowdown in securities markets. Despite the loss, Britam, a financial service company, posted increased revenue from insurance at 40% to 19.6 billion shillings, lifting total revenue 38% to 20.32 billion shillings. Insurance is seen as a growth area in Kenya, where less than 10% of the population has any form of cover. Britam incurred a loss of 2.34 billion shillings on its financial assets from a gain of 4.1 billion shillings in 2014. Britam said that total assets rose to 77.63 billion shillings, and while it posted a loss per share of 0.5 shillings. Now, away from the country, it's deja vu in South Sudan's capital, Juba, as people there wait for the arrival of rebel leader Riek Machar. He's due to take up his post as first vice president in a new government of national unity, a big step in ending the country's civil war. Juba remains under high security alert ahead of the return of Machar, who was expected on Monday but later rescheduled his return. Speaking to KTN News yesterday, an SPLM-IO's spokesman insisted Machar's return from Gambele in Ethiopia was still on course. Michelle Ngele with that update.
It is the second day of anxious waiting in Juba in the wake of the expected return of South Sudan's Vice President-designate Riek Machar, who has been a rebel in the last 2 years. Machar was expected back home yesterday, but his return was postponed until today, owing to what his team called logistics. Many South Sudanese are optimistic that his return will lead to a silence of guns in Africa's newest state. Several posters on roadsides welcoming the leader have been removed overnight, shortly after it was announced that Machar's return to Juba would be delayed.
The main issue was the issue of the light weapons. As per the agreement, our forces are supposed to come with. The Ethiopian authorities did not have information from Baba. They did not have the security clearance to clear our forces to cross the border. So this is what caused the delay, and finally the clearance came from Addis Ababa. And you can understand with the recent insecurity in that area, the Ethiopian security was on high alert.
Speaking to KTN News on phone, SPLM in opposition's spokesman Mabior de Mabior maintained that Mashar's return is still on course and is scheduled for Tuesday morning.
Yes, barring any unforeseen circumstances, Dr. Riek Machar will be in Juba tomorrow at 10 and will be sworn in at 11.
Mashar's return to Juba and swearing in as President Salva Kiir's deputy will mark an important milestone in honoring the August 2015 peace deal to end the country's civil war that broke out in late 2013. The agreement is seen as the best hope yet for ending more than 2 years of fighting that have left the world's youngest nation in chaos and pushed it to the brink of famine. A 1,370-strong armed rebel force arrived in Juba this month as part of the peace deal. The soldiers and police were flown to Juba to ensure security for Machar upon his return. Experts, however, warn that implementing the deal will not be an easy task.
We should not be just, blindfolded that the return of Riek Machar is the return of the second Messiah to complete all these messes that is around. No. We will still have problems in South Sudan. Maybe can be contained.
Machar has in the past been quoted as saying there will never be peace in South Sudan until President Kiir leaves power. Michelle Ngele, KTN News.
Back home, security has been beefed up in Meru County ahead of the Devolution conference. Meru County Commissioner Wilfred Nyagwangwa says there are adequate security measures in place at the conference venue and hotels in the county. President Uhuru Kenyatta is expected to officially open the conference that will also be attended by Namibia's Prime Minister Sarah Kungolewa as the chief guest. The chairman of the Council of Governors, Peter Munya, said the county was ready for the over 6,000 delegates, including governors, senators, members of parliament, speakers, MCAs and guests from foreign countries. Senators have threatened to keep off the conference, accusing the governors of sidelining other devolution stakeholders. The conference, which coincides with the lapse of the 3-year transition period to devolved governance, opens today. The conference is themed The Promise of Devolution, consolidating the gains after transition and looking into the future. And now joining us to give us a report on the same is our reporter Carol Derry, who is in Meru County, just to let us in on what is expected from this conference that ends on Saturday. Thank you very much, Carol Derry, for joining us. What will be the top agenda in this Devolution conference?
Yes, regarding the third annual Devolution conference, about 6,000 delegates are expected to converge at the Meru National Polytechnic to discuss a number of issues affecting devolution. Of course, devolution as a concept was intended to bring the services closer to the populace, but that was marred by teething problems initially, and of course, a lot has changed since then. These delegates, about 6,000 of them that are expected to attend the Devolution conference, are drawn from all the 47 counties, representatives from the individual county governments, as well as representatives from the national government and the civil society. And of course, a lot of talk will be based on the financial model. The county governments, led by the governors themselves, have been saying that there have been quite a number of bottlenecks and challenges in disbursing the monies that are issued from the national government, that by the time these funds are reaching the county governments, it takes a while for that to happen. So these are some of the issues that are expected to be discussed by the governors. And as you have said, Akusa, the senators, perhaps there has been an issue of whether all of them, whether they will attend the Devolution conference, with most of them feeling slighted that they are left out, saying that the governors have taken this forum to be one of their own instead of including all the partners and stakeholders that are involved in the devolution process. So that is quite an issue, and we will see how that will pan out. President Uhuru Kenyatta is expected to officially open the Devolution conference tomorrow, today being the day for the delegates who arrive in Meru County to register. The hotels are fully booked, and even the available ones, the rates have been doubled. So it is a bit of a problem for those who are still streaming in Meru County, and the conference is expected to take place up until Saturday, and hoping that the deliberations will be fruitful and there will be a way forward regarding the issue, the major issue that is devolution.